Good evening, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Mayor and Council. Today is Monday, April 15th, Tax Day, 2019. I'll start the meeting by reading the Open Public Meetings Act. I hereby announce and request that such be included in the minutes of this meeting, that notice of the time, date, and place of this meeting has been properly noticed and posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, mailed to the Times, the Star Ledger, the Courier News, the Alternative Press by January 10th, 2019, and mailed to any person requesting the same in accordance of the Open Public Meetings Act. I would ask that everyone that is here to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence, and as we head into the Holy Week for those who celebrate Easter and Passover, and to keep in our thoughts the French who are watching their great cathedral burn as we speak. We take a moment of silence. Thank you. To start the meeting off, Mrs. McGovern, may we have a roll call?
Jeffrey Davis. Andrew Carter.
Present.
Tom France.
Here.
Mary Lefferts Walker.
Here.
Michael Mitchell.
Here.
Tricia Walsh.
Here.
Colleen Moore.
Here. Before we get into our business, we will have the review and approval of minutes of meetings that the council has met. On March 18th, we had our regular scheduled meeting. And then we had special meetings where we undertook the budget, which was held on March 25th, April 1st, April 2nd. We had an agenda meeting of April 1st, and we have a downtown redevelopment agency meeting on March 18th and April 1st. So I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
May I have all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have two presentations tonight. The first will be our volunteer of the month, and then we have a presentation from New Jersey American Water for a presentation to the Fanwood Rescue Squad, but I'll go over here first for our volunteer of the month. So, not every municipality can lay claim and thanks to having a beautiful Dhammakayama International Meditation Center in their borders. And Fanwood is exceptionally lucky that the Tibetan monks found Fanwood. And they have planted their roots here now since 2002, and we recognize them here tonight and honor them for being really good neighbors, and we want to thank them publicly for always their reliable support for what we do here in the borough, for how they interact with our residents in both the Scotch Plains and Fanwood community, and how they treat our volunteers. That they have personally contributed to the well-being, the mental health and well-being of our neighbors here in Fanwood. Thank them for their generosity in sharing their beautiful meditation garden. And if you have not been to visit their meditation garden, it is one of the most beautiful, quiet, lovely places in all of Union County. And it is open to the public from 9 to 5. And what they have done is that as they planted their roots here, they have bought some property around their temple, and they opened up all of the backyards. And so when you go in the back, there's a beautiful garden, which they did themselves, right? YouTube, monks in YouTube. And they actually did a beautiful garden, which right now it's got to be right in bloom, right? Is everything starting to come in?
Starting to work on the soil.
Okay. So they began meeting here in 1998 to help people learn how to journey inward to actually find true happiness. They promote meditation, peace, spiritual awareness, and harmony to mankind. Dhammakayama practitioners who have dedicated themselves to teaching meditation and Dhamma, which is the reality of life, offer an open meditation session every Saturday from 3 to 4:30. And they welcome all of us, whether we meditate every day or looking for something new. If you can go to their website, they are an organization that we know that we can count on, that they have partnered with the YMCA, that they focus on our children's mental health. They show up at all of our events. They are an integral part of our, I'm drawing a blank on the group of our religious organizations. Ministerium. Total blank there. They are an active part of our ministerium that gets together, and we are very fortunate and humbled that you call Fanwood home, and we wanted to publicly acknowledge you and thank you for everything that you have done here. And I have something for you. So this is our train station, our historic train station, and as we say each month, this is what we call the jewel of our municipality, and we want to just acknowledge and share this with you, and that you hang this into place, that when you look at it, you know that the citizens of Fanwood thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
Yes, please.
I would like.
Good evening, Mayor Colimar, the council members, and everyone. On behalf of the Makar Meditation Center, this is great. This is very good time that we are very happy to be here today, and thank you to be a part of the city of Fanwood, and thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that in a time when there's so much stress in our lives, and we can see it in our children, and we can see it in our faces of people who are just trying to survive and make ends meet, and that everybody sometimes can seem a little raw as they go on in their daily lives, to know that we have a place that is open to all, that you can go in and just be at peace, I think is a very wonderful opportunity that I'm glad that we can share. So now I'd like to call forward our friends from American Water, Mike Bange. It's always good to see you, Michael. Nice to see you. And I think, and I'll call forward any of the members of the rescue squad that are here. Ed?
Everyone else is out on the phone.
Okay, well, rather you'd be there than, so come in here. So Mike, please, I'll
Yes,
give you
sure.
the
Thank you,
microphone.
Mayor. Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. I have my second in command, Mike Borman, with me, also my superintendent. We're pleased to award tonight a check for $945 to the rescue squad for some PPE gear that you need, some jackets. It was a grant that they filled out, and they were chosen. So
Oh, that's great.
we have a check to present tonight. Great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
The rescue squad thanks the water company for this check. This is going to enable us to buy 5 new jackets for our responders. As the older ones have become obsolete and no longer meet current safety standards, we're in need of replacing them, and the water company is generous enough to help us do that for 5 of them. So we thank them very much.
Thank you very much, and it's nice to see you here, Mike, and not talk about ripping up a street or paving something. It is. Thank you, and thanks to American Water for giving out those grants. I know we've been fortunate enough in the past to receive other grants, so this is really nice. Thank you. Thank you. So April is a really great time of year, I think, right? We're saying goodbye to the winter. Spring, is starting to be evident. Flowers are starting to come up, and we celebrate Earth Day. And we talk about our environment, and there's always a lot of conversations that go on about global warming, our environment, what we can do here locally, how we recycle, and the council takes really being green and being sustainable very serious here. And to that end, that's really shown because we actually, talk it, but we walk it, as they say, because this year we are actually celebrating 30 years of our Earth Day, our Clean Communities here in Fanwood. So 30 years ago, Fanwood understood the importance of, really taking care of Mother Earth and started a community gathering at the train station. And fast forward 3 decades later, we're still passionate, we're still meeting. The volunteers are still there to put it on under the direction of our public works directors, even though they have changed over the 30 years. But it's still really run by a core group of volunteers. One is here with us this evening, and it's really a special time. And if you haven't come out to the train station, which will be next 2 Saturdays, not this Saturday, the 27th, April 27th at 8:30, down at the train station. It really is a wonderful way to spend the morning. So I wanted to call forward our former councilman, Bob McCarthy, and I would like and our Public Works Director. Well, like they say, once a mayor, always a mayor, once a councilman, always a councilman.
We're still here. I'm still here.
You are still here, and he looks good, right? He looks good. So, Bob, first of all, thank you. Thank you for, serving your community. And when you no longer were an elected official, you still serve your community. And that, my hat goes off to you. And this proclamation is for you, and where we recognize the necessity for a clean community by participating in what the New Jersey State DEP wants us to do, which is to help to educate our residents. And we participate in Earth Day, which will be Saturday, April 27th. And this will be our 30th Earth Day Clean Communities with residents of Fanwood. And we can do this with only 4 or 5 members since its inception, which organizes and implements the community program to pick up litter. And they work in cooperation with the Public Works Department. In over 30 years, we have collected 60 to 80 bags of garbage each year. Think of that, 60 to 80 bags of garbage each year in that one day. It's shoveled, it's picked up with the hand, it's hauled away. In over 30 years, we have never stopped caring about what goes on here in Fanwood. So I, Colleen Marr, along with the council here, are celebrating April 21st as Clean Community Day, and we want to know that nothing is more powerful than the collective actions of a community. So, if I can do this, I want to just personally give this to you, for you to have, and I want to say thank you. Thank you for caring about Fanwood each and every day.
Thank you. Twice.
You want to say something about the event? Yeah. Want to say something about that?
When this all started, this Earth Day thing, it was not easy to get everybody. It was not easy to get everybody together. It's like the kids. Now today, I tell you, it's spread. Excuse me, one of my family live out in West Jersey. Their kids at school started up a group out there. They got it going. I tell you, it's happened all around. Thank God, because of Fanwood. Honest to God, because of Fanwood. I married a Fanwoodian. That's why I'm still here. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Bob, for your years of service to the Clean Communities Committee. I want to thank the mayor and council for all their support of our event that's done yearly since 1989. To put it into perspective, I wasn't even, you know, you know what? No. I was still in school that year. But anyway, you know, just so everyone is aware, Bob is one of the founding members of the Clean Communities Committee here in Fanwood. And he has not, since I've been here in 15 years, Bob has not missed one event. He's at every one, and he will be there again this year. He was gracious enough to come tonight, and I appreciate that, Bob. But I want to thank also the past committee members who still live in the community, Greg Cummings, Linda Talcott, Dean Talcott, and of course, Mr. McCarthy. I'd like to thank the current members, Lynn Vlasati, Margaret Chowdhury, and Harry McNally, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight I also want to thank the members of the Public Works Department. Some of the guys who were around during the beginning of this are still coming into the event to work every year. So I want to thank everybody, and I encourage everybody to make Earth Day every day, and keep the environment clean and sustainable. So hope to see everybody on April 27th. Thank you.
I'd like to call forward, I guess, Chief Trigo, and we have a representative from WatchGuard Police Video Recording Systems, Wayne.
Thank you for having us, Mayor and Council, and thank you, Commissioner Carter, for arranging this. WatchGuard is one of the leading vendors in body cameras and in-car mobile systems. And in recent months, myself and the Commissioner were talking about having one vendor for both the body and the car units. Right now, currently, because of the grant that we received back in 2016, we have one vendor that does our body cameras and a second vendor who does our car. We've been talking about having them integrated, so we invited WatchGuard down. Like I said, they're one of the leading vendors in this in the field, and wanted to take the time to have a presentation this evening. And he's also coming to been invited to the Union County Police Chiefs Association meeting tomorrow to try to, other towns are looking to try to get them in sync. So I'll turn the mic over.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Council, and thank you for the members of the community for allowing WatchGuard to be part of your presentation tonight. I'll keep it as brief as possible. I know having a salesman here probably isn't the highlight of your night. Just a quick overview on who WatchGuard is as a company. We are the nation's largest leading manufacturer of digital police video, both in-car and body cameras. Some of the things specific about WatchGuard that might be appealing is we're one of the few and almost the only American-made manufacturer of electronics for law enforcement in the U.S. We are a New Jersey state contract vendor, so we have a large market share here in New Jersey, which certainly would make the purchasing process a little easier, would not require a bid, as you know. As the Chief was mentioning, currently, when you look at multiple players in this space, integration is the new trend. And basically, for those that aren't familiar, with the in-car video that they have, and then there's also the body camera component. Integration basically means that if a patrolman were to throw his light bar onto the vehicle, not only would your current in-car video capture be activated, but we would also have the ability to have the body camera activate automatically as well. So in the event, currently all of your officers have to build a reflex to always remember to push the button to start a recording. When we move to an integrated solution, whenever you activate the in-car system, the body camera would activate automatically. So that's one of the advantages of the integration on the hardware side. Another advantage would be currently they wear a wireless microphone to provide audio for their in-car solution. When you go to a true integrated solution, we can eliminate the need for the wireless microphone and provide the audio from the body camera itself, so we can have the officers just wear one device as well. So there is a uniform advantage to the amount of equipment that a police officer has to wear when you move towards an integrated solution. And then lastly, one of the big advantages is currently if you wanted to see the perspective of the in-car capture with your body camera, it's almost impossible. You'd have to set up two computers because the devices are running on two separate sets of software. With an integrated solution like we offer, when you open up your video file, it would show both the in-car video perspective as well as the body camera perspective simultaneously. So you would be able to see the angle of multiple officers on a similar scene all at the same time. So there's an advantage there. And then obviously whoever the custodial person is for evidence would not be sending multiple DVDs or discs to different people with different players. We could embed all of the video capture for evidence under one media. So whoever that custodial person is would certainly find an integrated solution much better as well.
That's great.
And then probably for the council's purposes, one of the biggest advantages of WatchGuard would be you'd be moving towards an on-premise storage solution, which means we would keep the evidence, the video on a current server. You would not be incurring ongoing storage or cloud fees. So there's a significant cost savings to each town to keep the video on premise without moving it to a cloud and paying cloud hosting fees. So that's one of, probably for the council's purposes, probably one of the biggest advantages, that there would be a substantial cost savings in storing the video.
Is that what we do now?
It's my understanding that you do have a cloud hosted
It's
solution.
not, sir, it's not stored on premises now?
The body cameras were stored on cloud. That was part of the agreement to receive the the grant. The L3 that are in the cars right now, they go into our server here.
Chief, if you don't speak louder, we're not-
And they go onto
Sorry about that.
and they go onto a robot, which makes the disc. What is good is that WatchGuard could also work with our current robot that speaks to the cars to be able to make the videos, if you want to touch on that too.
Sure. And one other aspect is, we talk a lot about burning of these DVDs and a discovery request for this evidence. Our software package has built in something called Cloud Share, where part of the package includes WatchGuard rent space from Microsoft. This custodial person could put the video in our cloud, and then it could be shared without having to actually burn as many DVDs as that you currently burn, and that's all part of that solution. So you wouldn't be paying for cloud storage, it's just for the videos that want to be shared.
So what happens at the end of, is the video downloaded at the end of each day someplace, or?
It is, it would be kept on premise on a server that you already have.
The officers pull up to the side of the building and it's transmitted wirelessly
Oh,
to
okay.
our headquarters. But they have to be within a certain range. So as they're coming in during the day, it's downloading when they park.
Oh, that's
when they
pretty
park
cool.
the car.
So then if somebody wants to discover the video, or if it's subpoenaed, you have a choice of either burning a DVD or making a link available so that multiple people can see it in a couple different ways, basically.
Absolutely, right.
Correct.
Okay.
And that video would be available to any personal email even. So if they wanted to create a group such as the council or prosecutor, district attorney, it would allow, through your email, access to that video immediately.
What is good for discovery purposes too, we don't have to send an officer down to Elizabeth to, he or she will have to come off the road and go down to Elizabeth to drop off a disc. We could send in an email file to someone right there, so it saves the process. And it also actually helps with the new bail reform too, because people have to be heard, things have to be done within like 48 hours. So it's not like, say, someone is arrested Saturday morning or Friday night, then you don't have to hustle on Monday to make sure you get there. The officers could do the report, get everything approved, and then send it right down, so when a prosecutor comes in Monday morning, they have everything right in front of them.
It's great.
So we're continuing our journey from the 90s into the year 20. We got it.
Councilman,
Any other questions?
Councilman Carter.
No. So I just wanted to give a brief background on where we are with this. So this was kind of born out of, with Chief Trigo and I, we work pretty closely in my duties as police commissioner. And the thing I've learned about Chief is he's huge on transparency. And there were some reports that were released last year that painted some departments in a bad light. And with Chief and I having a discussion on how do we alleviate this possibly becoming a problem or situation for us in the future. And one would be, of course, with this full transparency with the actions of our officers during stops. And I went in and did a bunch of research to find the vendors who are used. WatchGuard is one of the industry leaders. Chief and I, we had some conversation with them even about the cost, which you won't get into right now because we don't know exactly where we're going. And then we have some new cars that are actually going to come online. And our thing was, when we bring those new cars online also, we wanted to be certain that they were outfitted with some systems that we wouldn't have to purchase now and then purchase again in the future, and covered all of the items that we discussed. So Wayne was gracious enough to come down. He's going to continue the conversation with Chief, and we would actually be, as we move forward with this, again, the trailblazers and leaders in the county. I'm not certain about the state, but in the county, to fully outfit our cars and our officers with this integrated type system
That's great.
at a savings.
Yeah.
At a savings.
Currently, a lot around the state, not so many people are having both systems in place. We've maintained it since we got the grant to have both systems in place. Currently, what happens is everything is transparent to right now. However, in speaking with the commissioner, we want to make sure that we are up to date with everything. So just so you know how these things work. You hit the lights on the car is always recording. The officer hits the lights on the car. It captures, we have it set to capture 30 seconds back. So it grabbed 30 seconds before you hit the lights, okay? And then it records. So now our standard operating procedure is when our officers are going to the call, they hit the body mic, okay? For some reason, say they didn't, and the call turns out bad, then you could be looked at to say, why didn't he hit it? This will give us the opportunity to be able to grab the 30 seconds prior on this camera and in this camera because they're talking to each other. So he could be, the police officer could be having a cup of coffee and a donut, and you might see that on the windshield, but the real thing about it is it's capturing the 30 seconds. Each one is capturing exactly, because someone could say, I didn't run that traffic light, you stopped me for this reason or that reason, and we have the violation right there. So that's why the cameras that we've always had and continue to have is a great asset, because sometimes people don't understand things and you just show it to them and it speaks for himself. But I like the idea of the two systems talking to each other, so you know, say someone does make that mistake, there's no mistake. It will go on, and it isn't like you're trying to cover everything up, and it just further enhances the transparency. I'm very comfortable with what we have now, but if we would not be looking to the future and be progressive if we didn't look to enhance that system. So I'm all for having one
Great.
vendor to knock them together. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, McCounsel.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Wayne.
it.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming out tonight. Thank you very much.
Chief.
We have one resolution or proclamation. April is also Autism Awareness Month, and Councilman Banks, who's not able to be here tonight, has his event coming up on Sunday, the 28th, of Rockin' for Autism, which is sort of our own attention and education on it. So Kathy, do you want to read that proclamation into the record?
Sure. Autism Awareness Month, April 2019. Whereas autism is a pervasive developmental disorder affecting the social, communication, and behavioral skills affected by it, and the autism spectrum disorder is a lifelong developmental disorder resulting in a range of significant impairment as an individual's communication abilities, behaviors, and social interaction, and a range of other secondary medical conditions, according to the CDS for the Center for Disease Control. Statistics: 1.59 children nationally are affected by autism, and no two children are the same as mannerisms and severity of symptoms. Many families living with autism or autistic children are challenged by complex medical needs, strains on finances, overburdened schedules with ongoing therapies, academic concerns, doctor's appointments, lack of respite and access to skilled childcare, strains on family and social relationships. And whereas, although there is currently no known cause or cure for the autism, with proper early education, training, and community support, individuals can lead meaningful, productive, and enjoyable lives. And individuals with autism often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety, and to support families as they manage the psychological and financial burden that autism can present. Whereas organizations such as the Autism New Jersey is spreading an awareness effort in order to educate parents, professionals, and the general public about autism and its effects, and to advocate for collaborative partnerships with community businesses, organizations, and individuals to optimize resources and supports to meet the interests, needs, and challenges of people with autism. Whereas the Banks family, along with friends and neighbors of all ages, created and will participate in the third Rockin' for Autism event on April 28th, 2019, in a week, providing food, games, entertainment, and educational stimulus to enlighten and raise funding for autism awareness in our community. Now therefore, Colleen Marr, the Borough of Fanwood, does hereby proclaim April 2019 Autism Awareness Month in the borough, and thank all citizens who attend the Rockin' for Autism fundraising event in LeGrand Park.
Thank you very much, and we hope that the community comes out to support this great event. We have one piece of communication from public service I'd like to move as noted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Krantz?
Thanks, Mayor. Two things I wanted to talk about briefly. It's a good meeting to talk about recycling with the 30th anniversary of our Clean Communities Day. First of all, we're going to be introducing our 2019 budget in a few minutes, and I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder with the headline,
It's okay.
but it's going to be a good budget, and we worked really hard on it, and it's got mostly good news for our residents, but more about that in a little while. Part of it will include money for a renewal of our curbside recycling program that includes pickup by the PMUA for another 5 years. And also, which is still being, we haven't signed on the dotted line of that yet, but we are negotiating, and it's looking good so far. And the probable use of a new recycling company, a company called Bayshore Recycling. This is a company based in Woodbridge. We've up until now used a company called Colgate Paper Stock in New Brunswick. It looks like if all goes well, we will switch to this company Bayshore because basically it's cheaper for us to take our recycling there. Our Public Works Director, Clint Dixon, and our Borough Administrator, Eleanor, and I actually toured the place last week. And I was impressed because my big fear was with all the things I've been reading about towns that have been basically burning a lot of their recycling and stuff that hasn't actually been recycled that we put in our blue plastic bins. We were assured by their chief of operations that everything that basically we put in our blue bins, they actually do recycle. They don't sell any of their recycling except for some paper and cardboard overseas. All of their plastics and glass are actually sold in the United States to companies that actually do use it. I was also surprised to find out that the only plastics that have any value in the recycling market are the ones with the numbers 1 and 2 on the bottom. Any plastics with the numbers 3 and above basically have no value in the market. They sell it, they say they sell it, but they basically give it away to companies, and they either recycle it and make it part of roads and patio boards, or they're not really sure what happens to it. But it's amazing how the whole recycling market has really flattened out in the last few years. It ain't what they promised it would be 50 years ago when I was in high school, that's for sure. But I was pretty satisfied that this company they're not dumping it, they're not burning it, they're actually recycling the recyclables. So that encouraged me, and we're continuing with those negotiations, and I'm thinking that that'll probably happen. And we also had a public meeting a couple weeks ago about the revaluation. I'm not going to belabor it. I just want to thank the many people from our town who showed up. They asked really good questions. I learned some things every time Neil from the company comes and answers and takes questions. I learned something new about revaluation. I think most of us finally got the whole way that works. You know, the value of your house will be revalued. It doesn't mean that your taxes are going to go through the roof. The value goes up, the taxation goes down, and you know, hopefully for all of us, it's not going to make that much difference, if any, in our tax bills. We're going to find out, obviously, but they're going to start knocking on our doors probably in May. So thanks to everybody who came out, and good luck to all of us. That's my report.
Thank you, Council President. Under Public Safety, Councilman Carter?
Yes, good evening. The monthly report for our Fanwood Police Department for the month of March 2019. Total calls for police assistance through our CAD system, 1,192. Total calls for police assistance through our 911 terminal, 6. Motor vehicle stops for various violations, 443. Total summonses issued, 361. Motor vehicle moving violation summonses, 77. Non-moving violations, 200. Parking summonses, 84. And 0 DWI. Total adult arrest, 8. And they were arrest on warrants, 6. Simple assault, 1. Hindering own apprehension, 1. Thankfully, no juvenile arrest. Total crimes reported, 5. There were 1 for stolen vehicle, simple assault, 1, fraud, 1, and disorderly, 2. That concludes our report from the Fanwood Police Department for the month of March 2019. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Banks is not here. Councilwoman McElroy Barker?
Yeah. I don't actually have a lot to report. Fanwood Easter egg hunt was at Forest Road Park this past Saturday morning, and despite the horrendous weather right up until about 2 hours before it, people came out and everybody had fun. The Easter Bunny arrived, and there were lots of happy kids with lots of sugar to take home with them. So we're very grateful to all the volunteers, the Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops that came out, and all of the Recreation Commission volunteers and their family members who came out. It takes a lot of people to put that and the other events together and make sure everyone goes happy. So we're grateful. The only other things with recreation is that summer camp registration is still ongoing. Pretty sure that the 3 tween travel camps are full now, but it's worth going online to check and get yourself on the wait list, because some people do decide to change their summer plans and sometimes spots open up. The Fanwood regular camp was ahead of schedule for registration, and I think the number of camps available this year is the largest number of camps that Fanwood has had to offer ever. And so Bob and the people in the Rec Commission really do a terrific job of coming up with camps. There's even camps for slightly older kids, and there's some school-related camps that my son is refusing to go to, but check them out. If your children are interested in writing and other more intellectual endeavors, they're offering some of those too. So, you know, that's all on the Fanwood Recreation site, and you can always link to that through the Fanwood Town site if you want to. And that's it until Party in the Park, which is June. So.
Okay. Thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell?
Thank you, Mayor. When I was thinking about my report tonight, said to myself, I don't have too much to report. And then I sat down and collected my thoughts, and I have a lot to report. So, the seniors met last week, and the guest speaker was our CFO, Fred Tompkins, to explain to them the reevaluation process. They had some very good questions to ask. Their main concern was, though, safety, about letting strangers in your house, because you know how we preach all the time, if you don't recognize the phone number, you don't answer the phone, because it's probably a nonsense call, somebody trying to sell you something, and you know, you don't open your home to strangers. So that was their biggest concern. So Chief Trigo will come to their next meeting, which is Monday after Easter, and he will be addressing some of those concerns. And also at the next meeting will be John Piccola, who was our fire chief, because they specifically asked for our fire chief to come, because apparently some of our members live in Scotch Plains, and there have been some terrible fires in Scotch Plains, so they wanted an update on everything. And I guess you can't hear too often that you have to change the batteries in your smoke detector. The Shade Tree Commission also met, and as you heard, no, that's the wrong commission. Arbor Day will be
What do you need? Yeah.
Friday the 26th at 3 o'clock at the Carriage House Park. We celebrate Arbor Day every year in this community in April. Usually the environmental club from Park comes and they do a demonstration. They give out seedling trees. There's usually some poems that are read. Let me see. And let me see. Dean Talcott, who is one of the people on the commission, has nominated 3 Fanwood trees for the New Jersey Champion Registry of Trees. And one is a black walnut, one is a honey locust, and one is a black oak. And this is determined by their size, age, and how rare they are. Like the black walnuts are very rare. Honey locusts apparently are very rare. So let me see. I think that's it for them. The rescue squad, I just got that report tonight. They had 44 calls. Most, let me see, 11 for psychiatric, sick, 11 for sick people, MVA or trauma 7, falls 5, and then the rest for respiratory, cardiac, community service, fire rehab, or medical alarm. There were 27 trips to the hospital, most of which went to Overlook with 22. Basic life support was 24, advanced 3. Let me see. They needed to use oxygen 5 times. Oh, they need mutual aid to Scotch Plains 21 times and to Union once. They've had a busy month. They were stood by at the Union County St. Patrick's Day Parade, and they also were a standby crew and a chase rig for the crew of St. Bart's 5K last Saturday. And the people who had the most calls for the month were Nick Tripoli, Ed Windsor, and Adam Mixis. Let me see. Public Works, okay. You heard Clint earlier in the evening talk about clean communities, and I have his report too. Some of the things that you may not even realize that Public Works does unless you have a problem in your home. They inspect and maintain the sanitary sewer system in various locations, because there are some places in the town where things traditionally might have a problem. They assist at the recycling center on the first Saturday of the month. And of course now they are out picking up the brush and the leaves, so that's very visible. They work along with the Shade Tree Commission, pruning branches and so that we don't have to use town money to do that with the Shade Tree Commission. They are beginning their weekly street sweeping operations, because now it's daylight at much later, people are out later, there's a lot more trash. So they will be sweeping the railroad station, the parks, behind the stores. They've been repairing potholes on Ridge Way, Sheilan's Crossing, Morse, Kite, South Avenue train station in Hatfield, and they've used 4 tons of hot mix asphalt. So I guess if you still have a pothole around, you should give either Public Works a call or here, and we will relay that message. The Environmental Commission will be present at the community day. And for those of you who are new in town, I know there's been a lot of turnover, Clean Communities Day is a day where we go around, as the mayor said earlier, and pick up trash on the public parkways in here in town. The parks and the train station and the train tracks. We get a lot of trash on the train tracks. And along South Avenue and various other public places in town. I think we collect a lot of trash, but I think over the years the trash has gone down. I think people are realize much more the importance of keeping your town clean. And also the Environmental Commission, in one of the grants that they had applied for, one of the things was education, so there will be a garden workshop on May 4th here on borough property from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. The ministerium met last week. We met at the meditation center, and we will be having the National Night of Prayers on the first Thursday of of May. It's traditional throughout the country. So that will be at Immaculate Heart this coming year at 7:30, again on Thursday, 5/2. And I think that's it. Oh, yes, I have a complaint from the Shade Tree Commission.
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day. It's not listed here. So they're very upset. So can we try and change that next year?
On our calendar.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a work in progress. Last year, I think we forgot.
Can
Like,
we just add one thing to the Clean Communities Day? I know I'm like the novice on the Environmental Commission, but I'm pretty sure we're giving away recyclable, reusable bags that day
Yes.
to people who come and help. So you'll get your first official Fanwood recyclable, reusable bag that we will be encouraging everybody to use in place of the plastic bags that we all collect at the grocery stores. So if you come and pick up a few pieces of garbage, you can get a recyclable bag. So just wanted to put that in. And it's free.
thank you. Councilwoman Walsh?
Thank you. I have the March 2019 Chiefs Report for the Fanwood Fire Department. In the month of March, they responded to 30 calls. March 1 at 3:15, a resident came to the police headquarters with 2 glass containers marked as cyanide, and the fire department
Yeah.
secured the scene. Union County Hazmat was dispatched, and the containers were safe. March 4th, 3:45.
Cyanide.
Yeah. Fire department responded to the Provident Bank for an electrical fire, and the major repairs were done for them to reopen. March 18th, the fire department responded to a structural fire on Rahway Road in Scotch Plains. They report 2 motor vehicle accidents, 1 large brush fire in Watchung Reservation. They assisted the Scotch Plains Fire Department there. And there were no injuries reported for the month of March in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. No special committee reports. We just have an update on an issue that was referred down to the planning board based upon the zoning subcommittee met, and sentiments were expressed at the March 27th planning board meeting regarding the ordinance that dealt with the density cap. That additional evaluation and input from a professional planner is desired relative to the appropriateness of the cap and other tools that may be considered by the borough to manage growth. So we look forward to the planning board having this discussion at their next monthly meeting, and then we'll update the council from there. May we have a presentation of claims?
Sure, Mayor. I move that claims in the amount of $2,009,613.14, having been listed on the bill list and recorded in the files of the Borough Hall and approved by the chairman of the appropriate committee, be paid.
So moved.
You have a roll call, please?
Yeah, roll call. So, Councilman Krantz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Carter,
Yes.
Councilwoman McElroy Barker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
passes.
Thank you. No auditing of claims. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public that wish to come forward. Come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Rabbi Joel Abraham, president of the Scotch Plains Fanwood Ministerium. And I just wanted to step forward at this moment to present the Ministerium's thanks and gratitude and support for Resolution 190483, establishing a joint committee for truth, racial healing, and transformation in the borough of Plainfield. We had a meeting of the Ministerium in September when this issue came up. I want to commend Mayor Marr and Mayor Smith for coming together after the incidents that have happened here in our community, especially the graffiti in our high school this year, and saying that here in our community, dealing with issues of race and of hatred goes beyond just reacting with anger and dismay to one particular incident, but that we want to really get together and pull together our 2 towns, pull together our communities, and create a committee that can really get at the root of what's going on and proactively engage in fighting hate. And so the Ministerium is very much behind this resolution. We are one of the organizations represented in the committee, as it is formed in the resolution. They appointed me to be the representative, and we hope that the council will pass it today, that Scotch Plains will pass it tomorrow, and the Board of Ed, and we can start getting to work. So thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
We appreciate the work that Social Justice Matter and the Ministerium does. Seeing that there isn't anybody else, may I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There is no old business. We have a consent agenda. Council President, if you want to move that.
Sure. I move resolutions 1904, 83, 84, and 85.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Under new business, Councilman Krantz.
Yes, it's with great pleasure I move to adopt on first reading the 2019 municipal budget, revenues and appropriations as presented April 15th, 2019. A public hearing on the budget will be held on May 20th, 2019 at 7 p.m.
Okay. So we are here this evening to introduce our municipal budget for 2019, and it is with great gratitude of thanks to our staff, our professional staff, and to the council and to all our department heads that the Borough of Fanwood will be introducing a budget with a tax decrease for 2019. We see the shock and awe in the with a tax decrease, and what's really I think gratifying is that we are able to introduce a budget that has less dollars being raised locally without compromising any programs or services. In fact, we are actually being able to expand some services, especially to our seniors. We are going to be making a great push this year by hiring a senior coordinator who will be doing a lot of outreach to our over 55 and older communities that live here in town. We're not reducing any services. We see a real explosion of our cultural and recreational programming that we do here through our Recreation Commission, and to all the wonderful things that are happening in the parks and at our cultural arts. We have come to agreement with the Public Works contract, and we thank the men for everything that they do every day for us. And we also mentioned that we are going into a 5-year contract with the Plainfield Municipal Utility Authority, which does our recycling, for a length of a contract for 5 years, and we were able to absorb that contract again without having to raise any additional taxes 1 year over next. So I want to thank each and every one of you up here, because you each have a hand in being able to say that. Fred is our trusty CFO. Is there any words you want to say that I may have missed?
The only other things that we did that are different in this year's budget, we have a shared service agreement with Westfield for our fuel supply.
That's right. We have a new shared service this year that we went into with the Township of Westfield, where we will be using their facilities for our fuel.
That's because we had our fuel tanks
Had an issue.
inspection, we had to remove them.
Right.
But rather than replace them, which would be costly, we actually entered into a shared service agreement with Westfield.
Fred, use the microphone. They can't pick you up.
We entered into the shared service agreement with Westfield rather than replace the tanks.
Right.
We also, in this year, we're entered into a contract with Parsa that's going to start videoing our sewer lines over a period of 5 years. They're going to do the entire municipality looking at our sewer lines. People ask, why did we pass a sewer fee? Well, part of the reason for the sewer fee is to pay for the videoing of the sewer lines to see where we have problems, and so we can fix them. Also on tonight's agenda, part of that same thing, when we're awarding a contract to repave a couple of streets, and part of that contract is also going to be looking at the sewer lines on those streets, so that we look at the sewer lines before we pave the streets, not after we pave the streets. So we put that in as part of all of our contracts going forward. When we start looking at repaving streets, we're going to look at the sewer lines in the ground on those streets first. And if they need repairs, we'll repair them before we repave the street, not after. So that's part of what we're doing. Our engineer is here, and that we built that into our contract. The award that we're going to do tonight for Stewart and Ginder actually includes that. So
Right.
it's the first of many, I think, we're going to be doing.
Right. So I think that the upcoming year is going to be a good one for the borough of Fanwood in the sense of being able to pass a more than fiscally responsible budget that actually has a decrease without sacrificing any programs or services that we do. But the year will also see us moving along on the South Avenue corridor streetscaping project that will start to pick up speed. We know that we're going to have, I think, this coming up at the end of the month, the lottery is going to take place for the affordable housing units down at Station Square, so that we will those are the last units to come online, and I think that'll be a nice thing for us to be able to speak about with the conclusion of all of that redevelopment. We have new businesses that have come into town, so our commercial corridor is really strong. We have a new financial services company that has come into town, and we also have a new orthodontist, I believe, is coming into town as well at the former Bathworks. So, but all in all, a good job, council, professionals. So did we introduce it? Did we do the?
We introduced it, we need a second, and we need to vote.
Second.
You have a second with Councilwoman Barker? Duckworth Barker? Okay.
No.
No. Okay. All in favor? Okay.
Yes.
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 Next, Councilman Kranz?
Okay, I move Resolution 1904-86. This authorizes a refund of 2 tax payments for the property at 210 Belvedere, which is tax exempt.
Did it become tax exempt?
Yeah, in January, it says here, the Salvation Army owns that property? What does that mean?
I know somebody from the Salvation Army lives there. I'm not sure who it is.
Interesting.
Used to be the case, somebody on North.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a private residence, right?
I'm going to get a job at Salvation Army.
I think we all should
Yeah.
get a job at Salvation Army. Okay, I have a motion, I have a second on that.
Second.
Did somebody second? Trish?
Trish
Oh,
Walsh, I'm
okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
I move Resolution 1904-87, authorizing our tax collector to cancel the sewer charge to Verizon on Block 200, Lot 1.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Tom Cruise,
Yes.
Kathy Mitchell.
Yes.
David Bonner.
Yes.
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I move Resolution 1904-88, authorizing the cancellation of gasoline and diesel fuel balance in the 2019 temporary budget appropriation.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tom Cruise,
Yes.
Yes.
David Bonner.
Yes.
Erin Barker.
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
Could I introduce ordinance number 1908S and request the title to be read by the clerk?
Calendar year 2019 ordinance to establish a cap bank.
I move that ordinance number 1908S be adopted on first reading, and if adopted, that the clerk advertise the ordinance as required by law, and that the second reading of said ordinance be held at a public hearing at Borough Hall, 75 North Martine Avenue, Fanwood, on May 6, 2019 at 7 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell?
I move resolution 19-04-89, and this is award a contract to T&M for services for Stewart Place and Ginder Place for construction of the engineering services for the reconstruction of these roads.
Second.
I have a roll call, please.
Kathy Mitchell.
Yes.
Tom Cruise.
Yes.
David Carter.
Yes.
Erin Barker.
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
I move Resolution 19-04-90, and this is to award a contract again to T&M Associates for Patterson Road Phase 2 for the design and survey services.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kathleen Mitchell,
Yes.
Tom France,
Yes.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Erin Barbara,
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 19-04-91, and this is to award a contract to Nigerian Associates Environmental Constraint Analysis of the Recycling Center.
Second.
I don't know, anybody need an explanation?
Is this about the groundwater? About the, not the groundwater, the,
Soil.
Yes.
About the soil.
It's about the groundwater. That's exactly.
about whether this is a groundwater
Right.
thing? Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Kathleen Mitchell,
Yes.
Tom France,
Yes.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Erin Barbara,
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 19-04-92, and this is to award a contract to Stillo Reconstruction for various streets.
Okay, may I have a second? May I have a
Second.
roll call?
Kathleen Mitchell,
Yes.
Tom France,
Yes.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Erin Barbara,
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And this is to move Resolution 19-04-93, and award a contract to Stillo Maintenance for road, miscellaneous road resurfacing.
Second.
Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Kathleen Mitchell,
Yes.
Tom France,
Yes.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Erin Barbara,
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
I move Resolution 19-04-94, and this is to award a contract to CME Associates for testing for Forest Road Park.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Anybody need any explanation? This is,
Nope.
okay, all right,
Kathleen Mitchell,
yes.
Tom France,
Yes.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Erin Barbara,
Yes.
Tricia Walsh.
Yes.
And all of the environmental testing we said came back positive, negative, in the sense of,
So for the Nature Center, we received the test results for the ground penetrating radar, negative, so we didn't find any underground structures, which is a good thing. And
Yeah.
also, and also, all like oil tanks or
Right.
whatever, or septic fields or whatever could have been there from many, many years ago. So that was all negative. Additionally, we did the soil testing, and that came back negative as well. So we'll be issuing a report to Green Acres to.
that's good.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything about the Forest Road Park soil.
That's
And we're
do-
just now signing off on the
Yeah, that,
contract to pay them to do it.
yeah, that'll be next, and so, so we just
Right,
did.
so we're gonna be issuing, we're waiting for some analytical data.
He's not doing it.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
And we'll be submitting the information to Green Acres for their final blessing, so we can proceed with the projects.
So who's the environmental liaison?
I am, and
So could you just let them know the
Eric
good news?
will. Yeah, I'll let Eric know tonight.
And CME, can you get them out there?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, do we have a timeline for CME? Because that project is
I will
really,
email it to you, I'll talk to him tomorrow and I'll email it to you.
okay, thank you, because I mean, it's very slow.
Okay, last one, Councilman Banks is not here. Councilman Carter, you want to move that for him? Under land use and historic preservation, the last,
Certainly. I move resolution 19-04-95 to authorize a refund of planning board escrow to PSE&G.
Second,
may I have a roll call?
Yes.
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 Antonis, you have,
Sure.
anything you want to bring us up to speed on?
Real quick. So as authorized this evening, Stewart and Ginder Place, which was part of the DOT grant project that was authorized to Stillo Excavating in the amount of $586,829.10. We have a $400,000 grant from the DOT and also $55,000 grant from Union County Trust Grant. So most of that project is paid for through grant money, which is really good.
Which is great.
Videoing of the sewers by Parsa started today. So I asked Clint to get in touch with the guys at Parsa to make sure that the roads that are coming up for construction are included in this year's list of roads to be videoed. Elizabethtown Gas, as we've probably seen, Elizabethtown Gas is back in town doing work. For the next couple weeks, they'll be installing main on South Martin Avenue for this week and next week. And continuing next week, they'll be in their area of Roosevelt Avenue, Daniel Place, Trenton Avenue, Washington Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, and Lincoln Avenue. Additionally, a second crew will be starting on the week of April 22nd, installing services on Shady Lane, so the project should speed up. The police have been issuing daily updates, emails from Chief Trigo with upcoming road closures, so if anyone wants to be notified of the areas that they'll be in, I recommend that they sign up for the daily emails from the police department. Next item is I want to just congratulate again the borough. We got another $350,000 grant for the continuation of Patterson Road between Hunter and Martin Avenues, which will complete the reconstruction of Patterson Road. And then that also will include the paving of Ridgeway, which is in need of some resurfacing.
That's a state grant?
That is a state grant, yes.
That's where the gas tax money.
Yeah, we've
Goes
gotten
to-
considerably more in the last couple of years than in the past.
Yeah.
As I reported earlier, Green Acres will be submitting our findings to the Green Acres people, and we should be able to move along with that project for the Nature Center. The utility trench restoration project, that was the half roads that we're paving on Montrose, Pleasant, Cray. That was awarded to Stillo Excavating in the amount of $223,687.30. And that's my report for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think I'll have a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public that wish to come forward.
Michael Lewis, 41 Beach Avenue in Fanwood. Just a quick question with regards to the ordinance regarding housing density. It was being referred back to the planning board. There was some uncertainty at the agenda meeting as to whether that would be at the planning board's agenda meeting or at the regular meeting. Has there clarification been made as of yet?
It's the regular meeting.
It's a regular meeting. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Can I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And we do not have an executive session it's on here, but I don't think we need it, right? We don't need it? Okay, unnecessary. So, Councilman Carter will just close with some council comments before we go off the air.
All right, so briefly, I just wanted to report that our new officer, Timothy Green, is progressing well through the police academy. He recently qualified for his firearm through his firearm training with the assistance of some extra work from Lieutenant Chin, and this happened last Friday. He has been reporting to the Fanwood Police Department in his off time or at other time for various aspects of his on-the-job training, including our community policing practices, report writing and things of the such. So when he's done with the academy, he can proverbially hit the ground running. So
When does he come out? When does he come out?
June.
Oh,
Yes.
so-
Should be in time for party in the park.
Good. Thank you.
A lot of hot dogs.
Yeah, grilling. Thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell?
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you to our CFO Fred and Tom Krantz for, who's the head of our A&F for a budget that came in under par.
It's all Fred, man.
Well, I think we
Fred
all
the
had
squirrel
we all
Tompkins.
we all had a lot. We all had our little bit, our share to do. But I don't know. Fred somehow comes up with stuff with money. It can usually be a very stressful time. It's the one part of being a council person that I don't really like, because there's usually always somebody who, in the end, who is unhappy. But I don't think that is that will be an issue this year. And I would just say, remember Clean Communities Day on the 27th of April at 8:30 in the morning at the South Side train station, and Arbor Day at the Carriage House Park on Friday the 26th at 3 o'clock. And I would just like to wish everyone happy spring, happy Easter, and happy Passover.
Thank you.
It's, that's that time of year when all of our outdoor events are beginning. Arbor Day's coming up, and it's a busy weekend, the weekend of the 26th, 27th, and 28th. We have stuff going on. I was recently at one of the many fundraising events that the Banks family has. Councilman Banks not here tonight, but he and his wife and his kids spend much of the year raising money for Autism New Jersey. And the big event on the 28th, I guess, is Rockin' for Autism, which his little girl, she's actually 17 now, but she started that effort when she was 9 years old, recovering from back surgery for scoliosis, and now she's a junior in high school and looking at figuring out what college she's going to go to. I just love that family. Those guys they're great. They're constantly thinking of new ways to help people and to help our community. And I hope that you'll all make plans to go to the Rockin' for Autism Fair on Sunday the 28th and support that cause. Thanks.
Councilwoman?
Well, I'd just like to echo really everything everyone said already. Happy spring. It's great to see all the flowers blooming. Makes me happy. And lots of great events coming up, so hopefully everybody will keep their calendar up to date and attend. And happy Easter, happy Passover.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
I would like to thank Fred for making me smile multiple times over this budget process. Every time he saved me a little bit of money, I got to smile again. So, it's actually really great to be on a council of people with similar values in terms of trying to give Fanwood what we've been told by you and what we believe we need as a community, and not take services away, and yet still be very cognizant of the level of taxes in New Jersey and try not to make that burden worse for people. So I am really proud that we've done this now a couple years in a row. I know a lot is lost and we don't get everything right, but I'm glad we were able to do this, and I hope we can continue to give Fanwood what it needs and yet not pay for it off the backs of the people living here. So thank you again, and happy spring and all of the rest of that.
So we'll close this up. I think it was a really great meeting. I think spring is here and puts a smile on all of our faces. We've got a lot of great upcoming events, and I just want everybody to enjoy this week, this Holy Week that many of us will be partaking in, and we will see each other next month. And with that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.